Good evening and welcome to the Late Late Show with me, Irish Tommy. Thanks again for joining. A few things to discuss tonight, particularly Europe. So far, so good, as they say, top of the group. But I won't be discussing it on my own. Got a couple of special guests with me. You all know him as Green Street Elite, and to those of us who love him, we just know him as Budgie. How you doing, mate?
What an introduction, Tom. Lovely. Thank you. I'm very well, thank you, buddy. Happy to be with you tonight. Let's move on.
Delighted to have you. And second guest, obviously no stranger to the show. You all know who he is, needs no introduction. It's Wish to Hear, Luke Bailey. How are you doing, mate?
I'm all right. I'm getting there. It's fine. It's Friday night and little cup of tea.
You're always kind of like, just not too many highs, not too many downs. You're just kind of like level guy, I think.
It must be catching you on the wrong nights then, because normally I'm more upbeat and stuff. But I've just come off a night shift this week, so I am trying to get the whole brain back into routine, if you get what I mean. So, but no, cheers for having me on.
And being a dad to a young baby,
that as well.
Night shifts. That's tough. That's proper tough.
Thank you for the backup. Appreciate that, Budge. Cheers.
Yeah. No, it's all good, mate.
Cracking stuff.
You just let your missus know if she needs any advice. I'm your man.
Yeah, cheers for that. I might take you up on that in the future, actually. You can take it rather than me.
Okay, as always, before we get into the topics, I'm going to just see who's the bat. So, usual is in as always. Tommy must have still his watch on. Jeez, you got no patience. I think it was only a minute. Got no patience, usual. Maltese Hammer in the house. You know how you do, Maltese. Good to see you. Peter Chelmsford. Good to see you, Peter. Going to be calling some of the younger players at the time of the season due to illness, African nations. I'll believe that when I see it. Hammerette, as always, in the chat. Great to see you.
Of course, she's always there.
She is. She's my groupie. She's always. I have one groupie, and it's Hammerette.
Brilliant. Love it.
Ian's in. Epic hashtag evening everyone. Am I out? She's here for you. She's not here for me. Oh,
of course.
That's
that's
a kick in the stones. She's here for Budgie. God damn it! I've mugged myself off there.
That's the one, mate.
Stephen Sprague's in. Even everyone looking forward to the show. Peter Shams, we always saw, not looking good for the four who missed Thursday's game. Home of face less than a test, and the other three will struggle to make it. She's happy to see you too. There you go, Luke. Zanussi dishwasher, or whatever that is. Hey all, good to see you. What's seen but even Tommy, Budgie, Luke, and all in the chat. And who else we got? Jay Woods is in as well. Evening, Ian, we've seen. Mark Watson is in the house. Evening, Mark. Good to see you. Another reliable, always in the show, Steve.
Always there.
Jude Bell. Yeah, usual as well, to be fair. Kevin Cackett. What a great name
for me.
Hope Rollers, how far do you think we'll go in Europe this year? We will come back to that, my friend. So that might just see how far he can push our fan base with his stubbornness. That is it for now. Basically my thumbnail for the show was Soucek United. Because we've been a bit of a Soucek United these last few games. Nothing much else has been happening in the games. Performances have not been good. And we've been struggling for goals. And then, inevitably, it seems, Thomas Soucek pops up to save the day. Is it 4 in a row now? Late winners or something he scored?
5.
Is it 5? It's something insane. But I'm really torn with him, to be honest with you, because look, we all know he was terrible last season.
Yeah.
But I think Declan Rice leaving has done him a right turn, because he's been allowed to go on his raiding runs again, which he wasn't really able to do last season. He was made to sit back and allow Declan to be the kind of more box-to-box player. But Moyes has kind of set him free again this season. And and he's more like the Thomas Soucek that we were used to. And to be fair, he's popped up with some crucial goals. Plus, I really love the guy. I have to say, I think as a person, as a personality, a character, I think he's fantastic. I mean, you can't but love Thomas Soucek. He's not. I doubt there's a fan of even any other team that would dislike Soucek. He's just one of those players you can't dislike. And so I'm kind of happy for him in that way, that he seems to be much happier in the team now. He's scoring goals. He's able to attack the set pieces. So he's been set free, and he looks very happy for it. He's got a smile on his face. And I love that because I do like the guy. And he has scored some crucial goals. Where I'm torn with Soucek is the other 90 minutes where he's not scoring, where I'm watching him and I'm seeing a player who a lot of the time is a bit of a passenger, where the game seems to be kind of passing him by. You don't really notice him that much outside of kind of set pieces. And while on the one hand, he's scoring crucial goals and earning us crucial wins. So on the one hand, you could say, well, how can you drop him when he's scoring these goals and when he's winning us these important games and important points? And on the other hand, I'm thinking, but if we had someone better in midfield, maybe we wouldn't be trying to rely on Soucek to get these get out of jail free goals for us. We might be actually be.
But we have got better players in midfield, though, Tom.
On top of that, the other question is, he can't keep this going. Like he's in a little purple patch of goals. But if we're at the point where we're relying constantly on Soucek popping up with a late winner, that's not a long-term strategy that's going to work for us. And I think the chickens are going to come home to roost on this. What happens in the next 5 or 6 games if Soucek does not score? We're kind of banging trouble. So I'm kind of torn.
Then you've also got to.
I'll let you in a second, Budgie.
All right, go on.
I understand people's point of view when they say, no, you can't possibly drop him. I get it. But am I an asshole because actually I would? I actually would drop Soucek because I think Paqueta being in that midfield role alongside Alvarez and JWP would be better. And we maybe wouldn't be relying on late winners from Soucek. All right, you're itching, Budgie. Go on, mate. What do you make of the Thomas Soucek situation? Where do you stand?
I'm absolutely... I think that the fact that he's getting us these late goals and it's fantastic because he's getting us results. But what we can't forget is the delivery, the assists. Kudos the other day, Cornet last night. The assists are inch perfect. Anybody could get on the end of them. I don't want to take nothing away from Soucek. I really don't. But if you had, I don't know, Kudos, JWP, whoever, on the end of those, you're going to get goals. You're still going to get goals. It's the deliveries that have been important. The goals have been imperative, but the deliveries have been important. That's all I've got to say.
Luke?
I think I know where you're coming from, Badge. I do. I 100% know where you're coming from. And I agree, because you have to have the assist just as much as you have to have the goal. The only thing I would say is that as much as I think Soucek is pretty much useless for the entire 90 minutes until the goals and all that at the end of the game, he has got a knack for having a good finish on him. I don't really remember since the time he's been at the club, he's ever missed a sitter or he's ever been in a position where he's missed a shot. Put it this way, if Antonio's in the same position, I don't think he scores either of those goals. Last night against Burnley, the
I didn't mention Antonio, to be fair.
No, but what I'm saying is that we all say about players being natural goal scorers or doing this and have a knack for something, right? Now, Danny Ings hasn't been very good for us since he signed. Been poor, terrible, you name it. Possibly if he was in the same position, he might get the goal because that's what he's made a career out of, career out of being Fox in the box. That sounds a bit harsh saying that about him, really, to be fair. But there's a knack for knowing about patterns of play. And I think it's not a guarantee that the ball's into the 6-yard box and it's hard to miss, but we do have players that can miss even from 6 yards out. He's got a knack for it. It's one of the reasons why I actually think he should be played as a striker in the Moyes setup. But when Antonio is not there and he's not going to play with Obama, because he would suit the role up front for Moyes, the way that Moyes likes to play. He would suit that really, but really hands down. Realistically, I mean, there's an old thing of when Ronaldo, when he was playing for Real Madrid, they asked him, how do you train to get these goals? How do you, what's your secret to getting so many goals in your career? And he said, well, half of it is the assists. He said, because I have to, if I can't get myself in a position to prepare to shoot, I'm not going to get the goal. So from a corner, he would know where the ball's going to come from purely because of the bloke crossing its body position in the first place, even before he starts to run up with the ball, right? Yeah. I'm not saying Soucek's Ronaldo, but I'm saying that Soucek's, I think his anticipation for balls in the box is second to none. I think I would trust him in the box more than I would trust Antonio or a couple of other players.
100%.
The ball from Kudus was fantastic. The ball from Cornet last night was fantastic. JWP's deliveries are second to none most of the time. So it's handy that we've got him there, and it's handy that we're producing these. But again, it's like, as much as I do love Soucek and what he gives to the team, puts his face in the war zone, tries to, give blood, sweat and tears, you name it. He's not a technical midfielder. He's very much smash and grab. And it's fine if you're, if you're not relying on the midfield as much, which is what we're not. We don't really rely on the midfield too much to make our play.
Under the Moyes system, we're relying on smash and grab type players, though.
Exactly. So he's perfect for that system. And realistically, I think it's only really been. I mean, we've known it for the last maybe 2.5 years that we only start playing in the last 10 minutes. And in my opinion, that has helped because of the fact that the opposition back off us and they've done their work. They're not going to try and score another goal, so they decide to park the bus. And if they were still trying to score goals, like maybe, I don't know, if you've got a top 6 club who are trying to win the game,
City or something,
we wouldn't be allowed to pepper their goal for the last 5 minutes and try and get corner after corner after corner and cross after cross, because they wouldn't allow it. They'd be up the other end trying to score another goal. So Forest, Burnley, last night, we got the win. Great that we got the win, but we leave a lot to be desired. And I think Soucek, love his, nice new celebration, but I think it's slightly papers over the cracks. But anyway, rant over now.
I mean,
great comment, by the way, Happy.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to get onto that because I saw the comment from Happy there, but it's kind of weird that we are where we are in a way, because our performances don't suggest that we should be, 9th in the league, top of our Europa group, in the quarterfinal of the Carabao Cup. If you were looking at our performances, you'd be thinking we're probably having quite a poor season. But again, we're just somehow managing to shithouse enough results, particularly with these late Soucek goals. Mm-hmm. It almost feels like we're kind of in a false position in a way. And the worry I have, Budgie, is that we've got so many games coming up in December. I'm like, what if Soucek doesn't score in the next few games? Because we could potentially go into free fall, because the performances, a lot of them have been very, very poor.
Yeah, agreed, mate. Yeah, but the thing is, we've got to acknowledge that there are goals all over the field in our squad. I mean, Kudus can bring out a goal. Paqueta can score. Ben Rama's been known to score in the past. Okay, not so much recently, but but he really has been a decent player for us in recent times. You know, even if he don't score as many, he's getting the ball forward, and he's a forward-thinking player, and that's what we need. We need forward-thinking players. All of this passing back to the keeper and working it out from the back isn't working. It's not working. We need players like Kudus. We need players like Soucek. Sorry, not Soucek, Soucek. We need players like Soucek that want to play the ball forward. We need Emerson. Players that want to play the ball forward. You know, Paqueta wants to play the ball forward. Bowen wants to play the ball forward. You know, we need these players on form on Sunday against Palace, because we tripped up too many times against Palace in the last few years, because we've not approached the game with as much vavavoom as we should. You know, we should be at this game with our tails up in the air thinking, you know, we're unbeatable. We should be doing that. We're not. You know, last night was pitiful fucking performance, if you don't mind me saying so. We got the result, but the performance, listen, I'd back my local pub team against West Ham last night. I really would, you know, and I play for them. And I'm fucking 61. But no, joking aside though, last night's performance, we didn't deserve anything. We really didn't.
To me, that was. I didn't. Even if we've been playing really well this season, like, you know, playing amazing football and being, you know, a bit higher in the league, maybe going away to Serbia on a cold Thursday night. I don't think anyone. They're hard games to play. So last night it wasn't particularly.
We've got 2 years' experience of it now, though, Luke.
Yeah, but I'm saying any team, no matter how experienced you are, they're gonna. I think you struggle in those games, especially when we're not, you know, particularly. How could I put it? Those are the games you do go out and you play crap football and you win 1-0 and you don't play them off the park winning 4 or 5-0. That's what I'm saying. Like, if we were at home to them, I would expect that the home game we'd have played off the park and won 4 or 5-0 and, you know, put them to the sword. But those games, I mean, I'm talking rubbish really, because I think they got beaten, didn't they? Like 5-0 or something by, I think it was Freiburg when they went to.
Freiburg put 6 past them and they put
exactly.
5 past.
But
they didn't.
But
They haven't been doing too well in their league either.
The way we play football, we're not set up to play attacking football, and this is Moyes football, and this is the whole point. I'm almost getting bored of saying it these days, but it's like, it's personal preference. He's about the result. He is about getting a 1-0 and getting out there. He's not about entertaining anyone. He's not about playing football. He's an old school defender type guy. All he wants to do is get a clean sheet of 1-0. That's all he wants. And do you know what? Like, if you do that and you're successful, you win games. I'm not really going to moan, because I've got to respect the fact that that's your game plan and that's what you want to do.
Do you worry, Luke, the same way I do? I was saying it there when you popped off for a minute, that my worry is that Soucek doesn't score a goal in the next few games and our performances continue the way they are, and that we end up kind of going into free fall in the league. That's my worry. How many times can Soucek realistically bail you out? There's only so many times it's going to happen.
Well, he's only been doing it recently, so it's that sort of purple patch thing that you mentioned a minute ago, where it is all going well, but I think Moyes relies on that anyway. Moyes kind of relies that all the time. It just happens to be that
he has done for the last 3 seasons.
It's coming to fruition, but you should never rely on something that is only by chance. Like, if we were doing that all game long and we were crossing the ball into Soucek and he was our forward and we're piling crosses in all game long and we're trying to win free kicks for him, that's fair enough. That's a game plan. If it goes well, it goes well. But it's just sort of like have him in the last minute, go up there and try and pop it in the net. It's by chance, and it's not that is stone cold results-based business football. That is it. There's no frills, there's no spills.
Exactly
that. The job done. Last night, I could sort of let go. Other games, you shouldn't be playing like that. If we had a team that you looked on paper, you thought this is overachieving, I could kind of understand it, because he's keeping our heads above water in a nice position. But we've got decent players all over the park. and they're all being played one hand behind their back. And I feel sorry for players like Fornals and Ben Rama and stuff, because I don't think they're great players, but they're not. I think they're not motivated, and they know their position where the squad's concerned. And I think when Moyes goes and a better manager comes in, if they're still at the club, I think they'll become better players, because they're ball playing players, they're flair players, and they'll get better. But last night it makes them look weak because they're not being played to their strengths. That's why we struggled to score.
I mean, that's the thing for me that's so frustrating, is that we do have, with everybody fit, when we put our best 11 players on the pitch, it's a bloody good team of players. And the worry for me is what I really don't like about this is that Moyes sets us up to play like a team that is just trying to stay up. Like a relegation candidate is just trying to kind of grind out some results to keep themselves in the league. And to me, with the players we've got, we don't need to play like that. I mean, it's really frustrating. I mean, we've got much better players than that, in my opinion. And we saw it again last night. We saw it in Burnley. We've seen it all season, really. I've described it before as poverty football, which is how I view it. And I don't think we need to play poverty football with the players that we've got. It's just very frustrating to me that we're going about our business in this fashion.
Yeah, it's I'm used to it now. I think that's the thing. I'm used to it. I'm like, I know mentality wise, he's meant to be going at the end of the season. For what it's worth, we're having a better season overall than we did last season.
That was a low bar.
I go to games now, and it's like, some people get a bit bored of it. Some people will like it because they think that we're going to win the game or whatever it is. But it's just I find the whole thing boring now at the minute, and it's not just the games; it's just the whole ethos. It's funny because Obama got a few pelters last night for saying he didn't play particularly well, or didn't look a top player in the team, and then was like getting criticised for his first touch. He wasn't touching the ball very well. I'm like, have you seen Antonio try and trap a ball? He's not doing any worse than Ings come on and just kept fouling players last night. He didn't do anything particularly well. So it's just it's the way he sets up is the way that. That's what I find frustrating. He never used to do that. When his second season in charge, sort of third season in charge, we were playing good football. We were at a completely different side than we do now, and we got better players for it. So I don't know why he's gone back. I don't know why he's gone back on himself, or he's scared now, or he's retreated to a different style of play. I don't know why he's doing that. But
it takes time to invest your style of football into players, and it's taken him 3 years to get our team playing his way. That's why.
I think we were playing like it straight away. I think we were playing even better. We were playing much better football about 2 or 3 years ago when we first qualified.
Exactly that, because the players had a freer role. They didn't have so many restrictions on their movement, on their positioning, tactical output, whatever. I think, slowly, and like I've never been David Moyes out. Never, ever, ever have I been Moyes out. But I'm saying that slowly, over a period of these last 4 seasons or whatever it is that he's been in charge, he's slowly stifled the flair players and produced a solid kind of regimented team, if you like. And which is why players like Paqueta won't stay the distance, because he doesn't want to be stifled. He wants to be
how many managers in the Premier League do you think would have taken a borderline world-class midfielder in Paqueta and chucked him on the left wing?
Nobody. I don't think anybody would have done that. Not even, someone like you or I playing Championship whatever it is, manager. None of us would do that. He's not the sort of player that you would put on the left wing. He's the sort of player you play in a number 10 or you don't play.
Do you know what would be in my head right now? I know James Ward-Prowse is very good on set piece deliveries and all that, and they're excellent and stuff. But
yeah,
I don't think he's playing quite well enough for my liking in open play at the moment, frankly. Ward-Prowse.
Oh,
Ward-Prowse.
Yeah.
Like in my head right now, if I'm West Ham manager, in my head I'm thinking, right, in January, I'm talking to Tim Steiden. I'm saying, listen, in January, get me a left-sided midfielder. Get me, someone who's exciting, some pace, skill, who gets goals and assists on the left wing. Find me one for January. Get me a left midfielder and find me a striker who knows where the net is. A finisher. And
you know what, Tommy? I would probably be more inclined to say to Tim Steiden, find me a left back. I'm going to push Emerson forward. Because I'm telling you what, Emerson out on that left wing where they're using Ben Rama or Paqueta or Fornals or whoever you want to mention, I think Emerson would be the player to put there and find a left-sided defender.
I would call that plan B. If there was not a viable left midfielder that we could get in January, then maybe perhaps I could say, look, if you can find our left back of the future, then yes, we could sign him and then temporarily put Emerson further forward for the rest of the season. And then in the summer, we'll see if we can get our left midfielder. But my plan A would be, because I think Emerson's doing really well at left back. But I take your point, Budgie. Yeah, I really like Emerson. I've been really impressed with him.
He's more of an attacking-minded player, though.
Yeah, I'd be more inclined, if we could, to find a left midfielder. Young, exciting, very talented.
I think left backs are probably easier to find, though.
Yeah, I'm sure, yeah. But in Tim we trust, right, at the moment. So I would love to have someone who's as effective as Bowen on the left. Get a striker in. My midfield three, I mean, imagine this. Midfield three of Alvarez, Paqueta and Kudus. That's as good a midfield three as you'll find anywhere in the Premier League. Maybe City are the exception, but that's as good as anybody else as a three in midfield. I wouldn't have
as good as we've ever had, that's for sure.
His deliveries. That Bowen puts in a mean delivery, I think, from a corner. I think Bowen's deliveries from corners are absolutely acceptable, more than acceptable. Really good delivery of a ball from corners, Bowen. He's been doing it for a while. He's taken lots of them.
And Kudus has proven to be quite a decent.
In January, if we could do that in January and have Alvarez, Kudus and Paqueta in midfield, I just think, that it could transform us. What do you think, Luke? You've been kind of mulling over everything I've been saying there.
Yeah, this players have been played out of position since, always turned up really. Sometimes they work out well, sometimes they don't. I think where Ward-Prowse is concerned, there's two ways it's gone. It's either he's been worked out by other teams, or he's been changed his role by Moyes, saying you can't do this, you can't do that.
He's sitting in beside Alvarez now.
So, Paqueta for me is a perfect central midfielder because he loves a tackle. He can play make from a deep role, and he likes going forward with the ball. For me, Kudus, we seem to be scared of playing Kudus as a left winger, and I'm not entirely sure why. Because he's seen as another Bowen. He's only capable of playing on the right and cutting inside.
David Moyes likes the inverted winger, though, Luke.
I know he does, but then there comes a point where you sort of go, well, you've got to find a way that Kudus works, and I still don't think we've found a position for him. I still think we're shoehorning him in somewhere he doesn't fit. So yeah, Cornet maybe plays on the left as well. I think after last night he showed glimpses of things and stuff like that. But if Ben Rama's not being played in centrally, we need to get a new left winger. We need to get a new left-sided player because he's not going to cut it. Nor is Fornals. Fornals is a central midfielder and he gets wasted out on the left side and on a wing.
Cornet's perfect for the left.
He is. He is, but the trouble is
Emerson's perfect for the left. The
It-
only thing is we need a left-sided defender. That's
thing is,
my point.
I wouldn't. Me personally, I wouldn't move Emerson from left back. I think he's too comfortable there and he's too good going forward. I think we need an understudy to him, someone who can learn off him. But the best thing we could do, in my opinion, is change to a 3 at the back with 2 wing backs, basically.
Yeah.
Have Kudus and Bowen up front as the forwards. You then have Alvarez and Ward-Prowse in the middle.
3-5-2.
And then Paqueta just in front of them two. You have Mavropanos, Zuma, and Agard, the 3 at the back, and then you just go forward from there. Trouble is that I don't think the style of play suits that particular formation, or if it does, you've got to be bloody good on the counter attack and not have to just rely on set pieces, which is what he does.
But we have been though, Luke. We have been good on the counter attack.
We have, but we're not good at it anymore. We can't rely on that because we don't seem to.
Because we've got attacking players now.
Yeah, but we've got the players for it. So we don't play that way. We just don't. You know, it's little things like when Areola gets the ball and he could throw it out straight away and launch an attack, and he gets told to hold on to it, let the other team get back and then play our game. So yeah, it's just it's frustrating. I just find the whole thing frustrating. But...
I mean, in fairness, right? I mean, we've replaced Declan Rice. That name sticks in my throat, but we've replaced him with 3 other players. Okay, in as much as we've got Alvarez, we've got JWP, and we've got Kudus. Them 3 players are now playing between them are playing the role that Declan Rice was kind of alluding to while he was with us. So the fact is there aren't enough positions on the pitch to accommodate all of the elements that we need on a pitch.
Right.
You know, I mean, we've only got 10 outfield positions and we've probably got 13 or 14 players that would make a complete side, if you know what I mean. You know,
that's down to the manager. That's down to the manager knowing how to.
It is. And you know, I mean, the fact that he hasn't been using Cornet, for example, in general use, the fact that he hasn't been using him last night proved to me that David Moyes was, you know, making a very ill-informed decision, because I thought Cornet, when he came on, completely changed the game.
Yeah, he did. I agree.
And, you know, for me, if it wasn't for Cornet, we would have come out of that game 0-0, because Cornet's delivery was inch perfect. Soucek, yes, give him his credit. He knew where the ball was going to be. Almost a carbon copy of the game against Burnley at the weekend. Just a different delivery man, if you like. You know, it was UPS instead of DHL. You know, so, but the fact is that we are getting goals from this wide delivery. And, you know, we've got players that do that really well. So this counter-attacking football isn't really working for us.
No.
I agree with what you said, Luke. We need to be adopting more of a forward stance. You know, we need to be the ones that are throwing the first punch, not taking the first blow.
But that's Moyes' mentality, isn't it? He sets out not to lose first of all, and if you can get the win, brilliant. If not, don't worry about it.
Sounds very Sam Allardyce, doesn't it?
I think this is worse than Allardyce. I think this is you know, Allardyce at least had some sort of identity where you know, you kick it. We play the same football now. When I go to West Ham now and the game kicks off, we pass it back to Zuma or Gerd. Ball gets booted up to Antonio, and then it goes from there. I know people might disagree, but Allardyce wasn't backed like Moyes has been backed. I'm not saying I'm an Allardyce fan. Allardyce should have stayed on, because I think he did ruin his own thing in the end, because he knew he wasn't going to be contract wasn't going to be renewed in the summer, so he decided to just go, fuck it, I've done my job here, and that's it. He was very anti-West Ham, but so is Moyes. Moyes is anti-West Ham. He said it on that CEO podcast, he wants to change the mentality of West Ham. He wants to change how the fans think and how the club thinks. And I think that's where people are there's the fine line. So we're winning at the minute, right? Lately we're winning. And West Ham historically don't win very much, even games, one-off games, right? We don't have a trajectory at the start of the season saying we want to win this and we want to win that. It's basically like, okay, won that game, brilliant. It's like a relief when we score a goal because we know we scored a goal. It's likely to lose.
See what we can do next week.
Right. So it goes that thing. And since Allardyce was hired, that was all I heard was that the West Ham way is you play good football first. If you win, brilliant. If you don't, tough luck. But at least you got to see a good game, right? I was never really behind that. I always thought, growing up, I always thought that winning was what you were there for, and that was it. And in now, I think it's since the stadium move that people were sort of going, okay, do you know what? It's bad football, but at least we are winning because West Ham have never really historically won. So it's got to a point where we're going to take it on the chin. This terrible football, this boring football. If it means we win, because we like going to Europe, we like being in the top half of the table, etc. We like being in the quarterfinal, and there's nothing wrong. This is the thing. There's nothing wrong with any of that. It's just personal preference, and there are going to be people out there that that made the trip last night at the Serbia. They got to see us win. Really, it wasn't a wasted trip. But I wonder how many of those fans that went out there that watched the game felt like it was a win after the game, because even though we won the game, it feels like.
I think for me, I think the thing with those trips is it's more about the experience, really. It's traveling with your mates or whatever. It's meeting other West Ham fans, having a few pints, having a good time.
It certainly is that.
Crack, and
the game.
So it's not all about it's not all about the 90 minutes as such when you're traveling away like that. It's the whole experience of being on the road, away game and all that. But yeah, I think you would certainly be hoping for a better game of football than they saw. But I guess the late winner kind of helped a bit, at least it sent them away kind of happy with the win, and it got a late goal and stuff. But I think the experience is kind of what it's about. That's what I find as well. Like when I travel to London for home games, it's not for me just about the 90 minutes or just about the result. Obviously, I really hope we win the game. I've been lucky enough. I've only been to 2 games so far this season, Chelsea and Newcastle. So there were 2 kind of good games. We got a win and a draw, a 3-2 and a 3-3, and goals, plenty of goals and stuff. So I've done all right this season. But even if we ended up losing, I'd be disappointed with the result. But I'd still have enjoyed the whole experience of going over and meeting up with a few people. And I met Gatesy and Gonzo and that. And
I mean, that's what I go to the games for. It's the social side of things, Talking the social side of things, what's happening in the chat?
Sorry?
I said, what's happening in the chat? Anything? Anybody new in the chat?
Well, Ralph isn't mincing his words. He just tuned in. This is Josh Shite. 55 years of watching. This is embarrassing. West Ham. We were always the second club that others support. It's pure shite. So I don't think he's enjoying the football at the moment.
Not
but
happy
it is.
with
It has to be said. I mean, look, there's no dressing this up. I know James is in the chat, and James was just saying there that it's all about the result. For me, it's never just been all about the result. Listen,
it's never been.
Right now, this season, I would be no worse off if I hadn't watched a West Ham game. If I was just Googling the result and said, "Oh, we won, yay!" Because I watched the West Ham game, I was falling asleep. The Burnley game, pulling my hair out, going, "What is this shit that I'm having to watch for 90?" I actually, if it's okay with people, I'd actually quite like to enjoy watching West Ham play football. Is there something wrong with that?
Is that too much to ask?
Of course, it's important. The result matters to all of us because we always want to see our team win. And I'm always happy when we win. I'm very happy that we got those 3 points last night. But that 90 minutes is 90 minutes of my life I'm never getting back. I would have been absolutely no worse off for not having watched West Ham play football this season.
Yeah, because it feels like a waste of electricity on the TV.
There's literally it's been like for 88 minutes or fucking 90 minutes, absolute shit. And then you score a goal. When Soucek scores a goal, I'm relieved. I feel relief because, okay, that's a goal that should win it for us and we'll get the 3 points. The previous 90 minutes, I've just been sitting there hating what I'm seeing. It's fucking shit.
And
I think we're entitled
do you know what, Tommy?
Some decent fucking football too. I mean, we do, want to go and be entertained a bit and have something, to get off our seats about or be excited about and the way we're playing and stuff. So I don't understand people saying, "Oh, it's only about the result and nothing else." No, it's not.
Everyone has personal preference, though, Tommy. You can't say what you want is more important than someone else's. We're all big fan base.
Yeah, I said I just don't understand it.
No, I know, but what I'm saying is, I get that you don't understand it. Like I understand it, but I've realised now because I didn't think there was a style of football that I didn't like until now, and I've realised I don't like it. But it's interesting because I just want to make this point. Every now and then I'll go on YouTube and I'll look at podcasts and stuff like that. And if anyone, I can't recommend it enough. If you go and watch Ben Foster's podcast or there's other podcasts out there that they talk to ex-professionals, they talk to ex-managers, and you get an insight in how their mind works. And recently, Ben Foster was interviewing Tony Pulis, and I think he had him at West Brom when he was West Brom manager.
Yeah,
and I think he was talking about Stoke or West Brom or something on them lines. But they'd won 1-0, and I think they beat Arsenal at home or something like that. And Ben Foster said he was at the sink cleaning himself off, sort of them lines. And Tony Pulis come out in a towel and just sort of like sneaked by him, just went, "I love a 1-0 win." And it was like, but that was didn't care about anything else. It was just that he won 1-0. There was no kind of glitz or glamour about it.
Well, that's what we are now, Luke, isn't it? We're Stoke City.
But then other people will also like that because maybe against the Man United or Liverpool at home, you are going to enjoy a 1-0 shithouse win. And that's going to be like you can get one over in your mates and you can shit all over and say, "Hey, for all your good football," and all it took was a ball over the top in the 90th minute and we won 1-0. That's
the Arsenal Invincibles team.
That's kind of fine for one game or cut the games. But when you're playing that all season long, it's going to get turgid, especially when we're playing against a team that isn't playing our sort of football, if you get what I mean. Like if it makes us not play our style, and we're this
another defensive team, you mean then?
But listen, Moyes didn't have to spend over £400 million to play this like this.
I don't think he did anyway. I think a lot of players weren't his. I think he wanted Maguire and he wanted McTominay, and the football would have probably been even worse, to be honest with you. But I think this highlights for me. This is probably the most the fan base has been divided in a little while, and I think it highlights really what are you about to exist. And I know there's the precipice.
Sorry, Luke. Every fucking time I was wondering how long it was going to take. I was saying, how long is it going to take before someone presses my button? This is my red button. Every fucking time I talk about how shit the football is, somebody has to come in and say, "Do you want to play good football and lose? Is that what you want?" As if that's the fucking two options.
I think why they say that is because that's what we've done over the years. That's all West Ham have been used to. West Ham have been a team that played good, nice, attractive football. Everyone could go to West Ham and at least enjoy the football. But we never used to win very much. And that's the problem. West Ham fans don't know what it's like to play good football and win. We've not been used to that. We haven't got that mentality. We don't go to games thinking we're gonna pop.
It's one or the other, isn't it?
We're gonna pass this team off the pitch and then we're gonna come off winning 3-0 like every single game. Because it hasn't happened for us. That hasn't been the way we've done it. The only time we have been successful under Moyes, and maybe a little bit under Allardyce when we were chasing top four with Sacco and Valencia. We're actually playing good football at that point as well, actually. But we don't. This is the thing for clubs that aren't in the top six. This is the media choice they give us as well. This is the media tagline they get. Be careful what you wish for, West Ham fans. They wouldn't say it to a top four club or to a top six club. They'd say it to us. Look at where you come from. Look at what Moyes has done for you. Be grateful. You're not going to get if you bring in a manager now that plays good football, you're going to lose every game. You're not going to be in Europe all the time, and that's because they're not used to it. West Ham fans aren't used to it. West Ham fans aren't used to playing good football and winning. It tries to have a little bit under Pellegrini in a couple of games or 4 games we get a win or something like that. But most fans, I think we've seen it now and we've gone, okay, well, this style of football has brought us our first trophy in 43 years. So the mentality is going, okay, well, we have to do that again and again and again to keep winning. We can't get away from this thing because otherwise we will lose. And when Moyes leaves...
Yeah, but the problem with that is trophies for a club like West Ham come along once in a blue moon. We did well, we won.
Yeah, I know, but
we should have been really competing for last season. Let's be honest. But look, we're probably not going to win another trophy for some time. That's the reality.
Hold on. Why shouldn't we, Tommy? Let's.
Because
why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't a team like West Ham, who've got Tim Steidten now as director of football, who have been in Europe for 3 years, just won a trophy in the Conference League, why should we not go? But why should our mentality now go, look, we're West Ham, we don't want to win a trophy. We don't win. That's not what we do. Why shouldn't we change it now? Why shouldn't we change the demographic? Why shouldn't we go, right, we're a European team now. Let's try and win another trophy. Why have we got to go back? Why have we got to, I'm not saying you're saying that, but that is genuinely the consensus of a lot.
I'll tell you why. Because it's hard to do. It's hard to do.
It's hard to do, Tom, but for the last 3 seasons, we've been doing it.
No,
even with shit football. Even with shit football, we've been in Europe.
You don't get a trophy for qualifying for Europe.
He's saying we've got better over the last 3 years and having.
Of course, yeah. I mean, that's the Premier League.
I mean, in our first European season, we hit the semi-final of the second most difficult competition in Europe. We got to the semi-final. We got beaten. Fair and square.
Let me clarify. I'm not suggesting we're incapable of winning the Conference League again if we were in it. I'm not suggesting we're completely incapable of winning the Carabao Cup or of winning Europa League. We're capable of doing it. It's just very hard. But there are a number of other teams that are too. The Conference League is the easiest one to win.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, agreed. It is the easiest,
we're capable of it.
But it's not where we're at, Tommy. We're in the Europa.
We're capable of winning trophies. I'm not denying that. We've got some very good players.
We should have the mindset that we're in this competition. We're
going to try and win it, obviously. But I mean, it's hard. You don't win trophies all the time, like regularly. It's very, very difficult to win regular trophies.
But mindset has a hell of a lot to do with it. Mindset has a hell of a lot to do with it, Tom. And if our mindset as a group of fans, if our mindset is more positive, that must then spill out onto the team or into the club. It must. Because what we say and do is never completely ignored. It's never silent.
It's interesting because I think Tommy's mentality is the fact that I don't want to win because how can I put this? I don't want to sacrifice winning for winning is not being an end all to me because I want to be entertained. And that's a lot of fans' demographic. I think it's a lot of old school fans' mentality as well. Yeah. And I think there's sort of like a new school. And possibly a lot of other demographic of fans.
Well, I think my point is that we can be where we are, top 10 in the Premier League. We should be top 10 in the Premier League with the money we spend on players.
Yeah,
and the squad and the team that we've bought, the players we've bought. We can be top 10 and we can be top of our Europa League group, and actually be good to watch.
Yeah, no, I'm not saying
It's not an either or. It's not like,
yeah,
like the commenter said earlier, oh, you'd rather play good football and lose every week. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
I know.
You can play nice football and be more attacking and be much better to watch and more entertaining and still do the same. I mean, Villa top of their group. Villa are above us in the league. I watched their game last night after our game. Villa play some absolutely lovely stuff. They're not getting relegated because they're playing better football. We're not pulling up that many trees. We're in the top 10. We're 9th. We're doing okay in the league. We should be in the top 10. Europa League, our group isn't particularly tough.
No.
We should be, top 2 in that group, 100%. But you don't have to play dross and grind out, with last-minute winners every fucking week, playing shit football to be doing what we're doing. We can play better football and still be doing okay. James, evening, my friend.
How you doing, mate?
Good to see you. Right, I'll tell you what, because we've been talking for a while and you've been listening for a while.
Yeah.
Keeping your powder dry. So I'm going to give you the floor and let you tell everyone why I'm wrong.
Listen, I'm going to be honest. You're not wrong to a point, but winning is important. It is the most important thing with the whole game. Like, do you know what I mean? Winning games of football is what we should be looking at as a mentality aspect. You know what I mean? West Ham of old at Upton Park lacked winning mentality. That's one thing we lacked was winning mentality, yeah? And the moment we left Upton Park to go to Stratford, that's when the mindset has changed completely now, right? Yeah. It's all about winning now. Listen, if that is the case and we were still at Upton Park, I would agree with you 100%. Yeah. 150%. I'd back you, and I'd be with you and Lou and all the other people who are with what they said about Moyes. But we've never had it this good. We just haven't. I'm sorry, but we just haven't had it this good in the Premier League era. We've had certain seasons where we've been good, but other than that, we haven't been consistently good. Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, the performances have been shit. I ain't going to deny that. And use are right in what you're saying. And I even said it the other day on E20, like it's appalling, isn't it? Let's be real. But keep going on about it and saying about it, it ain't going to change. David Moyes is a defensive manager. That is what he is. Yeah, and until he goes at the end of the season, which he's going to go.
Except we can't defend, really.
But like people just got to go through the motion of it. Do you know what I mean? It's like people seem to forget where we've come from to where we are now. That's the thing that, and there is a divide. We've discussed it on the channel before.
Can I ask you, James? Can I ask you, like, given the money that we spend and the size of the stadium, the amount of money that's in the Premier League, where do you think? What do you think we should be doing?
Top 10.
That's top where 10. We are.
Like top 10. Like West Ham. Once you move from Upton Park to Stratford, West Ham have to become a top 10 established club. Simple as that. Yeah. Right? Yeah. West Ham should not be fearing relegation ever again, or even having the attempt of going down. West Ham can't afford to go down with 65,000 fans in it because it would ruin the club. I see something the other day on Twitter. Listen, you take Twitter for what you take it, yeah? But West Ham can't afford to go down. They just can't. They can't afford to drop down. And listen, it's 20 years ago.
Yeah. So just with that in mind, so we're doing more or less what we should be doing. Right, given the money we spend, the size of the stadium, and we are a big club, huge fan base.
Great.
So as you're saying, we should be top 10. I would say in the Conference League last season, I mean, we should have been, pushing to win that. We were joint favourites, I think, at the start of the competition.
Right.
Fantastic to win it, but we should have been looking to try and win that trophy because, there weren't too many other teams in there really that we should be getting turned over by. Yeah. And this season, we're top 10, which we should be. Is it fair to say, given all of that, what we've spent, size of the stadium, the money in the Premier League and stuff, Moyes isn't actually doing anything particularly extraordinary, and that we should be able to play a much better style of football and still be able to be a top 10 team and compete well in Europe?
I understand what you're saying, but we have been consistent.
He's not pulling up that many trees, is what
Yeah,
I'm trying to say.
but the one thing that we are is consistent. Like, and we haven't been consistent. Like, as a club, we have not been consistent.
Yeah, but look, see, this is where I slightly diverge from you, because people keep going back to the old days, little old West Ham, but that's not the situation anymore.
No, I mean,
we're
like,
just not. I mean, with the money that we spend, James. You know, I mean, when would you ever have imagined us spending £50 million on a single player? I mean, it's insane. But
I'll say
the
this:
little old West Ham stuff in the
Right,
past. I understand. I know what the club was back then.
I'm not saying
We're
that.
no longer that West Ham. We
Right,
can't keep saying, "Well, it was worse when we were little old West Ham." We're doing what
Right.
we should be doing, given
Right.
the money we spend.
You're misinterpreting what I'm saying, right? First off, what I'm trying to say is we have been consistent over the last 3.5, 4 years. Right, we have. Listen, like, whether you like Moyes or not, we've been consistent. We've been in Europe on every single time.
Boring.
I think European
but-
ones, not
yeah,
the
but-
league.
Yeah, but 6th, 7th. Listen,
League,
as-
There was
James,
relegation
come on.
battle last season.
James,
As-
we've been really poor in the league. For
as
a long
I've said,
time. This
as I've-
season's a bit better.
right, but as I've said before, any West Ham fan last season would have took a 14th place finish to win that trophy. They would have done. Right? If you wouldn't have done,
I mean,
then
most,
I don't. Do you know what I mean? Like, if someone,
we'd have taken it if that was all that was on offer.
yeah, no, but the problem is,
No, but
yeah,
that's a dichotomy. That's a
it's
do you
one
want it or
bad.
not,
It's
you
one
know?
bad season. Like when you've had to deal with people like Avran Grant, Zola, to name like even Allardyce to a point. I heard what Lou was saying earlier on, but I disagree with that. I think Allardyce was terrible in the way he.
No, he was. He was. I was peppering
Right.
over a little bit.
But what I'm trying to say is that we have been consistent. It might not be amazing football, but we have been consistent. Like, do you know what I mean? Is the performances good right now? No. Right, they're awful. Let's be honest. The last 2 games have been really, really bad. Yeah, and we've got away with murder, really. Right, but it ain't going to change until he goes at the end of the season. Now, the $1 million question is: will Sullivan allow him to go? That is the $1 million question, because what David Moyes does right now is a perfect Sullivan manager. Does his job, does as he's told, and basically keeps West Ham in the Premier League and keeps progressing. Now,
Gets results.
He gets results and everything, yeah.
As well.
And this is the argument that I had when Lou come on E20
Let me ask you.
Go on, Raj. I'll let you speak.
Yeah. No, go on. Carry on with what you're saying, James.
No,
Go on.
what I was saying was, the other week when Lou come on and we discussed it, there is an element, right, of like you just got to ride this out.
Yeah.
I know it's hard, but you just got to ride it out. Yeah, I'm of the mentality that I know he's going to go. I'm putting up with it. Yeah, and you will see what the owners are like about in the summer. That's like for me, it's all about the owner now. It ain't about Moyes. It ain't about the manager. It's about where the owner wants to go with the club. Because if you're an ambitious owner, and this is what I said the other day, Moyes would have been gone in the summer. He would have been taken out. He would have been let go on a mutual.
Been gone after the World Cup.
He would have been. He should have been gone after the World Cup, but he got away with it. But in the summer, when you win a trophy, if Sullivan wanted to do the right thing, he would have let Moyes go and bring in a top end manager. Yeah, and the fan base would have went, fair enough, right? Thank you very much, David Moyes. But Sullivan's gone and brought in a top end manager, whether that's a Postecoglou, Alonso, whoever. Yeah, he didn't do that because he knows that David Moyes is a fucking golden egg. And that's what it is.
I think it's, to me at that point. I just quickly. Sorry, Budge. I just quickly make this point.
Yeah, go on.
I think I said it on your channel, James. Is that I think his hands are a bit tied. I think he said on one hand that comes down to the ambition things. You got to have sort of proof in your pudding, because he just won the Conference League. He'd done what he'd done over the last 2 or 3 years, and media-wise, they would have been like vultures all over Sullivan going, what are you doing? Getting rid of a bloke who's just won you a first trophy in 43 years. You've done the bloke dirty.
But then it goes back to ambition, though, Lou.
That's
like,
what I'm saying.
If you're an ambitious owner, you don't give a fuck what the media say. If you care about West Ham, and this is what I'm going to be straight, right? A lot of channels don't mention this, but does Sullivan really care? Really, really care? Yeah, it's okay throwing money into it when you know you're going to get a return at the end of it. And he's going to get a big return from West Ham. Let's be honest, yeah. So he ain't going to go out and get a high-end manager because he might not be here in 5 years.
No.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, to him, David
Yeah,
Moyes,
but the last time he did go out and get a high-end manager, it didn't work. He had to bring.
I
It
agree.
yeah,
Moyes.
the more I think about Pellegrini being a Highland manager, it was like, well, he's the best now, isn't he? I suppose, but yeah, he got stung. He did 100% get stung with Pellegrini with the manager he backed him, with the money he backed him with. But
let's put it this way. Let's put it this way as an example. Yeah, if you take Moyes out in the summer and you go and bring in a top end manager, just say Alonso, for instance, you go out there, you pay the £13 million release clause, you bring him to West Ham, the fan base would have went, fair enough, you've gone up another level. Yeah. I think a lot of fans would have accepted that. So a lot of the younger fans, I can see it from their point of view. As I say, I speak to a lot of younger fan base. I speak to Alfie quite a lot, and it's the best they've ever seen with West Ham. So it's very hard for them to accept that David Moyes has brought in glory. He's brought in European football consistently, and they can't accept that. Like, people of the older fan base have seen Lyle, Greenwood, etc., and I've never seen that. So I've got to, do you know what I mean? I respect them for what they've done.
In fairness, though, James, like, I am one of the older generation supporters. I've been around since, well, my first game was in 66, 67 season. So I've been around for a long time. But in fairness, would Alonso have been an upgrade? Because he's unproven.
Yeah.
True.
I think what you meant,
David Moyes is now a proven manager. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not Moyes in, I'm not Moyes out.
Yeah.
I want West Ham to succeed. That's what I want.
I agree with you 100% there. Yeah.
Right. But would Alonso have been an upgrade, or would he have been a risk? I'm not saying he would have been a downgrade. It would have been a bit of a risk.
I'll tell you how I view it.
But the question that I wanted to put across to you before was, we are spending a lot of money on players, and we're spending a lot of money on our backroom staff and etc. etc. We're spending a lot of money.
Yeah.
But we're paying £3 a year for our stadium, boys.
Yeah.
Would we be doing that if we were paying full whack for our stadium?
Not necessarily.
Where would we be? I think we'd be a championship team if we weren't.
See, the thing
Seriously,
is,
I do.
Right. This is because I spoke to someone the other day and they said to me, like, if you could go back to Upton Park now, would you? And the answer to that is a very hard question. Yeah, I love that place.
I wouldn't,
like everyone
personally.
But exactly, yeah. But the ground, West Ham would not have been able to spend the amounts of money that they are spending currently right now at Upton Park. Do you know what I mean?
No, they wouldn't have been able to.
West Ham wouldn't have been able to maintain it. Yeah. So
because we wouldn't have been getting the revenue that we are getting at the stadium we're at now.
I don't think the extra crowd is actually worth as much money as you think.
It's not the crowd.
It's really not. It's the money is the Premier League. I mean, that TV deal is absolutely
massive. It's and because the fact that our stadium
extra balls on seats actually doesn't give you like tens of millions every year. It's actually not as much as people think. That having more bums.
I mean, a lot of the reason we get television coverage is because we're in the Olympic Stadium.
Yeah.
That's a major reason we're getting a lot of TV coverage, because they have to make that stadium pay, because we're not. Yeah, it runs at a loss every single season. You know, like last season, what was it? Like 13 million loss, 14 million loss, something like that. Ridiculous. You know, you tell me another club in the Premier League whose stadium is running at a loss. I bet you can't find one.
The only one I can think of off the top of my head is probably Old Trafford, but because it's ruined. But other than that,
no, but you got to realise there's like 3,000 to 5,000 people a day doing stadium tours at Old Trafford.
True. Yeah.
You know, even if it's 2,000 people a day, 80 quid a person, that's a lot of dough. It's a lot of dough. You're probably getting 80 people a week at the London Stadium.
But you understand my frustration, James. It's like,
oh, mate, I understand totally, Tommy.
We've assembled this team.
Yeah,
we're doing well. Don't get me wrong. We're in the top half, which we should be. Won the Conference League, which was fantastic. But we should be, if not winning it, going very close, given the competition.
Yeah.
But the thing is, after spending all that money, bringing in such wonderful players, we've got some really great players, and we look like Stoke City.
I know what you're saying. Listen, Tommy, I hear it from the heart from you, mate. Yeah.
Like,
I
take
know
it
what
the
you're
other
saying.
night, James, right? Like last night, right? Okay, a win and 3 points kept us top of the table. We only need a draw at home to Freiburg.
Right.
So, yeah, on paper, you're saying, yeah, happy with that, and I am. But can you honestly, that 90 minutes, James?
It was awful, mate.
It was absolute fucking dross.
I
It was
compare
the same against Burnley. Absolute fucking dross. Like, I was saying earlier, I don't know if you could hear me. I think you might have been in the live chat when I was saying it, is that it's not just the 3 points for me. It's not what it's all about.
I know what you're saying. Listen,
obviously, it's like I would have missed out on absolutely nothing in the Burnley game last night if I'd have just Googled the results at the end of the bit, and I'd been just as happy with the 3 points and the win.
Yeah.
But for those 90 minutes, I was sitting there just.
This
is fucking dreadful.
I know. Look. I'm
it's dreadful.
I know. Listen, I'm just.
Surely we're capable of better. Surely.
What I'm saying is what I said. I don't know if you caught this, James, or if I said it on your channel. I can't remember exactly what I said now when I was on there, but there's the tagline of play well, lose, play ugly, win. Right now, I think there's a divide because West Ham fans have never known us to play well and win. Right. Historically, we don't really win. Whether you class winning as winning games or you class winning as winning trophies and stuff like that.
We've had some seasons, we have had some.
We have, but
it hasn't been all bad.
I mean, overall, you go if you're a Man United or an Arsenal fan or a Chelsea or whatever top 14, you go to games thinking you're going to win. You really how much are we going to win by this week?
I know what you're saying, though. Like,
I think that's been more to do with the squads that we've had.
Is
it
individual players?
There's been many times when we just really haven't had the players, and so we still play the West Ham way, and we were losing because we didn't really have great teams a lot of the time.
We had players like
we were buying cheap players. We were buying loan.
Yeah, but we've also had. We've also had players like your Paolo Di Canios, your
spend our money
Payet.
quite well, and we've assembled a good side, and we have actually looked good and had good seasons.
Yes,
the time there when we had like Sinclair and Di Canio and we had Joe Cole, like the Canutes and all this, and it's actually showed on the pitch.
I know.
Looked good and won games, finished 5th, 15-16. We had an unbelievable player in Payet, but we had a really good Lanzini. Cresswell was at his best for us. Noble had his best season ever for us. And we again finished like 5th. And so I think it's more been to do with, until more recently, with some exceptions, we haven't really had the money to kind of assemble like a squad where we've got enough really quality.
I'm gonna say this though. Right? When people keep saying about we've got an amazing squad, I don't buy that at all.
Not a squad.
Yeah.
No, but with everybody fit, we've got enough.
Amazing team, 100% budge, but not a squad. I hear the word squad quite a lot.
We've got an amazing team and a really good squad. That's how I see it.
It's hard. It's hard to have a
good squad. Come on, James, you can't deny it's a good squad. Even players like Fornals, your Ben Ramas, the players that aren't.
I said it the other day on Twitter.
99% or better.
I said it the other day. I said it the other day on Twitter. Yeah, and you remember me backing Benny up all the time, but Benny's time is done at West Ham. He's done. He's done.
I wouldn't say that though. I've changed my mind about Benny a little bit though, James, because in fact you helped me do that, bud, because I started watching him a little bit more off the ball, and like when he's got the ball, about his intent with the ball. For me, see, the West Ham way isn't all about great football or great results or whatever. It's about 150% when you've got that shirt on your back.
Hang on.
I don't care whether you fuck up. That's why Paqueta's so loved, because it doesn't matter how many mistakes he makes. It's the intent. He wants things to happen.
It's fighting for the badge.
We all love him because he's trying to make shit happen. That's the West Ham way to me. It's not about results. It's not about, performance.
Ben Rama is one of the most wasteful players I've ever seen at the club.
But
I'll
his
leave it at that.
desire is
Shit, mate.
undeniable, though, Tom.
I didn't say he was shit, James. I said he's one of the most wasteful players.
Cock and Tor, mate. Like, I mean, ass shit me. You know what I mean? I had to put up with him for a season, mate. Do you know what I mean? No
Aguli.
chance.
No, you're misunderstanding, James.
I like Faguli.
No,
I like
I didn't say
Did ya?
I didn't say Ben Ram was one of the shittest players I've seen at West Ham.
Faguli
One of the most wasteful.
And he
Yeah, I know,
sold
mate.
off that.
I've seen some crap over the years. I ain't gonna lie, but listen, for me with Ben Rama, there comes levels now, and West Ham's gone up levels, and Ben Rama stayed on the same platform for me. Yeah, listen, I've backed Benny up for a long time, and over the last sort of 6 months, I've been sort of monitoring him, and for me, he's done. There's a few players in the team's done. People will say about Fornells. I've never really been Fornells' biggest fan, so it's very hard for me not to sort of say about him, but I think he's also done. Yeah, I think he don't want to. I think he's been here a long time. I think he wants a fresh start in Spain, etc. Yeah, you look at a Bonner, he's getting older. Fabianski,
He's done.
Yeah, Cresswell,
Done.
Danny Ings, like
Done.
So I've gone through. I've named 6 players there that they're all sort of near enough, like either
28 plus.
Yeah. So do you know what I'm saying? So I think what you said earlier about
we need to be aiming for a younger squad.
agree on that.
Yeah, we're one of the oldest teams in the league. Yeah, absolutely.
Sorry, I missed that, James. I spoke over you, mate.
No, that's right. No, you're right. Like we need a younger, fitter, fresher squad. Like, and it proved
Having
it last
said
night.
that, though, there are 1 or 2 players in our squad that are slightly more senior than others.
Actually, no,
For example, Emerson. I think Emerson has probably been one of our best buys in the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, I agree on that.
I think he's been
He's
exceptional.
been fantastic. See, here's the thing. When we're talking about, particularly the bench, I agree with you, James. I think Benny's finished at West Ham. I think Fornells has finished at West Ham. It looks like Moyes just does not fancy Cornet whatsoever. He'll probably have to move on. Cresswell, I imagine, will probably retire at the end of the season. Oggy will retire. And we're talking about maybe injecting some youth into the squad. We happen to have some of that already at the club. It would
Yeah,
be
we
really
do.
nice, given how terrible some of the players were last night. The squad players that were brought in to do a job out in Serbia and how terrible they were. What would we really lose from last night if we were to? Because there were some youngsters on that bench last night. You didn't get a sniff. What would we really lose in a game like last night if we were to say, okay, you're not going to play Benny. We're going to put George Earthy on the left.
But
he's not going to do it. We're going to put, we're not putting Cresswell. You're washed, Cresswell. You're not playing at left back. We're going to chuck Ollie Scarlett at left back.
The thing was, we had to get at least 1 point from last
really.
night.
At least they are young, enthusiastic, ambitious, want to impress, rather than players who probably are just disillusioned at this point.
I agree with you. And last season, we were hearing some really good stuff about Longello out on the left back. Haven't heard his name mentioned once this season.
Is there any reason, James, that we couldn't have played 4 youngsters last night instead of 1?
The thing is,
if they've got 7 good pros around them,
right? But there's 2 ways of looking at this. If you play the youngsters and we don't get the result, then people will say, "Well, we ain't got the result. How have we not got the result, etc." We don't play the youngsters, and we do get the result. It's like you've got to balance it out.
The youngsters. Yeah.
So you can't you've got to look at this from a sort of like they're experienced players, right? Some of them are internationals, like Soucek's international, Quetta's international. Obviously,
I think after last night, I think Moyes could absolutely do it, and fans would be like, "Yeah, I get it." Moyes would be well within his rights to say, "You know what? I don't trust Benny anymore. I don't trust Fornells anymore to put in any kind of performance. I'm going to give some of these very talented youngsters."
Yeah, but he ain't going to say that about Cresswell. And if you ask me, Cresswell's a liability right now.
Yeah.
I think the fans
that
would
cross-field ball last night that nearly cost us, mate. I'm telling you, the red card in the semi-final or quarter-final or whatever it was in Europa 2 seasons ago. I mean, Cresswell has become a liability. And do you know something? When I saw the team sheet for last night and I saw Cresswell on it, he was my only concern out of the whole team sheet. He was my only concern.
See,
And
I understand what Budgie's saying, right? I do, but then Moyes is in a bit of a situation there. He's damned if he does, and he's damned if he don't. Like if he goes and plays the youngsters and we don't get the result,
I knew
people are
this. Oh, sorry. I knew this one was coming. I knew this was coming. Allardyce played the youth in the FA Cup. Remember that tournament? It's not like the Forest game. I'm sorry. If you just thought what I just said was that, you have not been listening whatsoever. When did I say play 11 youngsters? When did I say I should have played 11 youngsters?
You said 10.
I literally
keep Fabianski in goal.
I literally have said if you'd have played 4 youngsters and 7 experienced pros last night, would any of the youngsters, would Earthy have done worse than Benrahma on the left? Would Scarles have done worse than Cresswell at left back?
This has been my point with when Barber's concerned.
Come up with these comments.
But they been saying, Obama was, he's too young, he's too inexperienced. Thinking if Antonio was on form, if Ings was on form and they were scoring goals and you couldn't drop them from the team, you thought they were playing really well, then it is hard to get a youth player in. You've got to give them a chance in a cup game, maybe when you're away to a lower division team or something like that, or give them 10 minutes into the game. We're winning 2 or 3-0, which we don't do anyway. But if you've got underperforming players, then especially as we're the academy of football, which we haven't been anyway for the last 10, 20 years, whatever it is, then give a chance to a youth player who's, highly. You've got the youth team that won the FA Cup last season, smashed Arsenal's pieces in the final, right?
Yeah.
There has to be at least 2 or 3 players there. This is the point. This is the big thing that I don't think people realise, that when you say you want to bring youth through, you're not saying that every single one is going to be a Wayne Rooney. They're not going to be a generational talent. We're not. The West Ham fans aren't asking for someone who's going to score 20, 30 goals and
One thing I was going to say then, Lou, yeah, I get what you're saying, I do, but then you can't have it both ways, where people are saying, right, bring the youth in, let them come in and all that, and then other people are saying, well, I want West Ham to spend some money and buy a top end talent. Like, do you know what I'm saying? Like,
you can do. For me, you can do both. For me, if you go and say you've got a really top,
the youth should be a bonus, Lou. If you want to be honest, because the Academy of Football years ago, West Ham relied on that because they were skint. Yeah, under Peter Story and all that, yeah. And then when we had them youth players coming through like Defoe, Carrick, Cole, Glenn Johnson, to name them lads, Lampard and Rio, right? West Ham were skint. West Ham are not skint now. West Ham have got money, and West Ham are paying out a lot of money for a lot of players. Now, do I really want to, I ain't going to say waste my time with a youth player, that's a wrong choice of word, but do I really need to give a player time to come in and possibly be a level?
Take the risk.
Take the risk is a better choice of word from Budgie, yeah? Or pay out for someone who's proven right now. The answer to that, you'd want the proven person.
Yeah, I'm not saying you're wrong, and this is what I'm saying. It's not like if these players, if you're a youth player and you're trying to compete with a 25-year-old who's just come from a top European team or really good player just bought money, then you've got to work hard, doubly hard to get in, even if you aren't that good. You've got to get the chance. But my point is that youth. I'm not saying you should rely on youth. I'm not saying that we should have to rely on the academy. Like there's got to be. I'm just saying that if you've got a couple of players in the youth team who are doing really, really well, and if all it would take is a bit of a nurturing, maybe give them 2 or 3 games, in the cups to try and get them through, and say, right, we brought at least one player a season comes through. That's what I'm trying to put right. You've got there's an avenue if they are that good to come through. And especially if the players who are in front of them aren't playing particularly well, and you go, right, do you know what? Give them a game. It can't be any worse than that player.
Let's use this as an example. The January transfer window is coming up in next month. West Ham need a striker at this club. Do you go out and buy a striker, a proven one, or do you persist with the fine?
No, I'll go and buy a striker.
Right, so you just answered my question then.
No, but what I'm saying is at this point, when January isn't here, and you've got a month, 2 months where there's not going to be a chance to bring a striker in yet, and you're trying to achieve things, and you've got 2 players that are basically stealing a living, Antonio can't track a ball to save his life,
I
so
agree.
and he's not France. And you've got Ings who isn't doing anything. But both of them aren't a crap. Both of them can't.
It all depends, really.
Ings can't play the system.
Let me say, James, like for example,
Until you get to that point,
do you think
use Obama as a right. If he's all we've got till January, let's use him till January. Let's give him.
Oh mate, I'll give Divine.
He ain't going to be able to play 10 games in the next 34 days, though.
Why?
You know what I mean?
Because
Antonio
nobody is going to be that physically.
Well, but Antonio would have been. If Antonio would have fit, that's exactly what he done.
Not a chance. Not a chance.
No, he would have done. That's how he works.
Not a chance.
Actually,
there is no way that any manager could expect any one player.
No, you're right.
Play the next 10 games over the next, 34 days.
What he does. That's what he does. I know you can't. I totally agree with you, Budge. But that's what Moyes does. He runs players into the ground. He's done it 2 seasons ago when he didn't buy Alvarez in January because he thought Antonio was playing so well. Then lo and behold, January finished. We couldn't bring a striker in, and we ended up getting
losing.
Antonio.
Yeah, but that's on the ownership, though, mate. Because the ownership should be going right. Who do you need in January?
Totally agree.
But that's not on Moyes. That's on the ownership.
It's a combined thing, really, though, James. Because Moyes should be saying, "I need this man," and the board should be saying, "Okay."
I agree with you on that. Yeah, it should be. It
should be a joint thing.
Yeah. Listen, I'm going to wrap this up soon, but James, I do want your opinion because you came in late. But
go ahead, mate.
I just want to get your thoughts on this because this is my worry at the moment. Our performances have been poor these last few games. Thomas Soucek has scored late winners 4 games on the bounce now. In performances where we were lucky to come away really with the win in the end, he dug us out massively in the last 4 games.
Great.
The worry for me is if these performances continue as they have been, we can't really expect this Soucek purple patch to keep happening, right? It's impossible for any player to keep digging you out like that game after game after game after game. My worry is that if those Soucek goals dry up, which they probably will, not his fault. You just can't keep doing that game after game. It's astonishing that he's done it for 4 games on the bounce, frankly. My worry is that these dig outs that we've gotten from Soucek will come to an end sooner rather than later. And my worry then is that that's when we see the results. The wins stop. That's when we start to see draws here and there, losses, and we start tumbling down the table in the wrong direction. Is that a worry for you?
A little bit. Well, I'm not going to lie. Listen, I know what people are saying. Right, when I hear people speaking about like Moyes and everything, some people are more passionate than others about getting him out the door. Yeah, but the performances are bad at the minute, and it is a concern. And I can see a good hiding coming from someone. And the one fear I have is in 6 days' time we go to Spurs away, and that's the one I'm a bit worried about. I'm not worried about Palace. I think we might get the job done against them. It's the Spurs away one that I'm worried about because I can sense a good hiding coming because we're getting away with it and away with it and away with it. And let's be honest, if we turn up against Postecoglou's side next Thursday and we put in performances that we've been putting in recently, we'll be 5-0 down at half time.
And we've got a really congested December. I mean, the games are going to come really thick and fast now. Yeah. That's my worry. I hope it doesn't come to pass. I really do. I would love for us to get into January still in the top 10, having, at least drawn against Freiburg and finish top of that group, and maybe if we're very lucky, having an amazing win in the Carabao Cup at Anfield. I would love that to happen, but my worry is that where the drubbing's going to come from if Soucek or somebody else isn't digging us out with late winners anymore.
I don't know. Listen, at the end of the day, I don't really like to think of West Ham losing. If I'm honest, I know that it's going to happen, because we're not going to we're not going to win every game. So I get that, but I do fear, and you are you're right what you're saying. And I understand. Like I've seen Nick's in the chat, so Nick will probably agree with this. But there's a good hiding coming from someone against us. Like
it'll be Liverpool Carabao Cup. That's where it'll come from.
I don't know. I think it's.
I don't think so. I don't think it'll be that game.
I think it's going to be earlier than that, Budge, if I'm honest. Like because what it is, the results are getting worse. Not results, sorry. The performances are getting worse. Like Last night's game was bad, but the Burnley one
Got
was,
to bottom out somewhere, mate.
yeah, I know it has, and that's the worry. And obviously, we
Well,
are,
has
But,
it
I mean,
bottomed out?
to be honest,
already?
James, I mean, like my worry
don't know.
isn't really that we'll get a tonking from someone, because that probably will happen sometime. Oh God, I hope it's not Tottenham, because that would be awful. But it's not a one-off tonking really that I worry about so much. It's the week to week. If the late winners stop coming, which they inevitably will, it's that tumble down the table that really worries me. That we hit January and we're in 15th or 14th or something like that, because we just have stopped winning games because the performances are still poor,
yeah.
and we're not getting those lucky kind of late winners to dig us out. That's really my worry, is a run of games where we just start losing again, and we start tumbling down the table.
The only
get
thing I
knocked
will
out.
say that, is West Ham are going to lose a game. Right, it's going to happen.
Well,
Right,
a
so,
game, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, again, I'm not talking about any individual game. Of
Yeah.
course, we'll lose some games. My worry is that we'll actually go on a really bad run, because if these performances don't pick up, I would guarantee you, and I'm going to say it right here and now, if our performances do not pick up, we will go on a really bad run. A really bad run of results, because Soucek ain't going to keep digging us out with late minute goals. It's just not going to happen.
See, the games that we've got coming up, yeah, we've got Palace. If I got this right, correct me if I'm wrong. We've got Palace, Tottenham, Fulham, Wolves. We've got the Freiburg game before the Wolves game, because that's on my birthday weekend. Then we've got Manchester United. I think if I got that right, yeah, Manchester United, Liverpool, Arsenal, Brighton. So it's gonna be a mad sort of December. Don't get me wrong, but Manchester United at home, West Ham always get up for. I will say that the Arsenal away game's got more
Hope
incentive.
so. I'm going.
Yeah, I think it'd be all right. Obviously, Bud says about Liverpool away in the Carabao Cup. If that's the one where we get a good hiding in, then it is what it is. But as long as it ain't the Spurs one, because I do fear that where Spurs are going to want to bounce back. If they lose on the weekend against Manchester City, they've got us next, and they're going to want to turn us over. So if we play like we're playing recently, and they turn up, we're going to get done. Right, and that'd be the worst. That's a treble heartache. That is, because
But the problem is we can start getting done a lot.
Yeah,
because I mean, we went to Burnley, who were the worst team in the league. They just are, and we struggled massively. We went to now Topola is different, because it was obviously a very changed team. So I won't include that in, even though it was a terrible performance. But it wasn't our first 11 or anything near it.
Yeah.
But the worry is that we went to the worst team in the league and we were horrible. And we got away with it because they were the worst team in the league, and Soucek dug us out again. The worry is, I know you talk about, well, we only have to play Wolves and Fulham and some of these lesser teams in the league that are not particularly great themselves.
Yeah, but we've also got Brighton
performing the way we're
City
performing. Those
in
teams
week.
may very well fucking just beat us anyway.
I don't know, Tommy. I don't know.
If we keep performing the way we're performing, we're going to start losing games.
Well,
I just don't see how that could not be the case.
Well, we need Jared Bowen back on his side. That's the first thing. Like he's a major key man. Kudus, Alvarez. I don't think we're going to go on sort of a mental run, but the performance wise of stuff has got to stop now. And obviously on Sunday, Palace, we just don't beat Palace at home. Right, every time we play them, we either draw or lose, and they always seem to do us. Right, and they've got two of their best players out for that game. So
I got 5 players out for the game.
Well, if they've got 5, even better.
According to Network earlier, it's 5 players that are doubtful for the game on Sunday.
I know 2 of them. Right? I know Eze's out, and I think it's
Elise.
Yeah, Elise's the other one. Yeah, but West Ham need to beat that team on Sunday. If West Ham beat that team on Sunday, I have a bit more confidence. Yeah, because that's a team that we just don't beat, especially at home. So I want to go into the Spurs game next Thursday ready for it. Do you know what I'm saying? Because
with a bit of confidence.
I agree. So it's going to be mad, but the performances have got to get better. Like that, I can't defend the performances, especially in the last 2 games.
Who can? Nobody can. Even David Moyes hasn't been able to.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah,
He hasn't
James, do
been
you
impressed.
genuinely not like if once we get the win, do you actually genuinely like not give a shit about the 90 minutes? Like really?
I look at it like this, yeah. When I'm watching the game, I assess everything from back to front, from goalkeeper up to striker. Now, for me, if West Ham are playing half decent, like they played pretty decent against Brighton, I thought that was probably the performance of the season.
That was very good.
People say about the Nottingham Forest game, we went 2-1 down, and I see heart in the team. Like team bounced back straight away, equalised, and once we went 2-2 against Forest, we smashed them to bits. We hit the crossbar. Soucek was throwing his body everywhere, and we got the late goal.
Do you not wish we'd have done that earlier?
Yeah, but it's better late than never, mate. At the end of the day, I'd rather do it.
It's actually better from the beginning of the game.
Yeah, but Manchester United, I'll use this as an example. Manchester United years ago under Fergie used to make like Fergie time be brilliant for them. They used to score 90th minute goals all the time, 89th minute goals, and win games. Right? We do it, and people look at it like it's a bad thing. I think it's a great thing, right? Because it means that we're going all the way to the end of the match when we're non-stop. Do you know what I mean? And we have done that a few times this year, even against Burnley. I know it was bad. Don't get me wrong. I'm not defending the performance, because the performance was bad, but we didn't stop to the end, right? And that has got to be given some credit there, even though it was bad, the performance, right? You've got to take into account.
Look at the final. Look at the final.
Even the final. And listen, I'm not as I say. I would love to say this, and I'll let you down, bruv. Yeah, I'm just like I'd rather us be non-stop to the end rather than good at the start and then flat at the end. Because how many times over the years have we conceded goals in the 90th minute and been done by teams? So many times. Go on, Lou, man.
So, but that was kind of what I was trying to get through to earlier. I think it was anyway. That I don't think West Ham fans actually know what it takes to win, what a winning mentality is, because we're used to being all about the football and being the nearly club and the club that likes a cup run, but it's not exactly essential right now. If depends what, this is what I'm saying. It depends what you want as a fan. This season, I think, is actually highlighting you got to decide as a fan what you want, what you truly want as a West Ham fan. Because if you want to win, and if you want more Conference League trophy titles, you want more days out in Europe, you want finals and all that. It's not always pretty. A lot of the time it's ugly, and a lot of it's winning ugly. And if you are going to be playing good football, winning all the time, you've got to have the best manager. We've got to have a really good manager, great players all over the pitch, more than consistent all the time. Like if you like Man City play good football all the time and they win all the time, and that's great.
No, I don't think anyone ever expects West Ham.
What I'm saying is
that's not what we demand.
As West Ham fans, we're not used to winning in the last minute. We're used to losing in the last minute. Teams doing us over in the 90th minute. Right now, suddenly we're doing it in the 90th minute. It's not good enough because you weren't doing it in the 90 minutes beforehand, and I totally understand that, right? And I'm the same, because I was watching that Nottingham Forest game. I was deflated after they went 2-1 up. I was like so deflated. I was like, we won, but I was like, I'm gutted the way that the game went for 90 minutes. That's what
the moment they equalised in that Forest game, different West Ham. Now, listen, I suggest anyone go back and watch it.
Why does it take that, James, for us to start actually getting after teams?
Good question, mate. I don't know.
That's for a lot of teams like that.
I'm going to say this.
I can tell you the answer. You know the answer is a one-word answer, James.
Go ahead.
Noise. He does not allow the team to play that way unless the situation is desperate. And he's like, shit, we're behind now and we're at home and we need to go for it now and try and get after them and try and find an equaliser and then a winner.
Yeah, but he's a defensive manager, isn't he? Like, I think Budgie or Lou said it earlier on. Yeah. He thinks about defence first and attack later. Like, that's what he is. Do you know what I mean? The problem is you can't change David Moyes, right? Even though everyone would want to.
That's why I want him sacked.
Yeah, but he ain't going anywhere. Done something. Do you know what I mean? Even if you went there and give him P45 to his face,
but like I said earlier, though, James, and I'll kind of like add a little bit of like flavour and seasoning to this. Ask any Arsenal fan that remembers the Invincible season what they remember about that season. And I bet you 80% of them say 1-0 wins.
George Graham era. George Graham
Hey?
1-0.
Well, it was 1-0 to the Arsenal, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
but even 1-0 to the Arsenal.
The
You're
Invincible
even
season was the Henry season when they were like ridiculously good to watch. But I see this on other channels as well. I know someone who used to go watch during the George Graham era. He used to go go through the turnstile. Used to get a beer, and he used to just sit by the bar, and his mate used to go and watch the games. He used to come back and he used to go, "What score?" And he go 1-0. I said, "Right, that's it." So I stayed for the second half then because he knew it wasn't going to get any better than that. And it was. I don't need to speak to Arsenal fans that much about it because I don't know that many fans of that era. But I would like to know how they actually what they think of it because all I get from the gist of it is that it was the most soul-sucking, destroying, winning season they've ever experienced or anyone's ever experienced. But
that's my point. That's my point. And you know, like I was saying about a couple of guys I know that are Arsenal fans, and you know, like I was talking to one of them earlier on this evening, and he said to me, "Oh, you know, like West Ham are doing all right in Europe and this and that," and you know, I came out with the, you know, yeah, but it's boring watching these fucking last-minute winners and. You know, well, it's not boring. It's just like just soul destroying and so on and so forth. And he said to me, "Listen," he said, "like a lot of people are going to remember the great results we had during our invincible season." He said because there were a few of them. He said, but a majority of us Arsenal fans will remember the ones that we ground out 1-0 or a 2-1 or you know what I mean, or a 0-0 because they didn't win all their games.
Yeah, sorry. Look, come on. That Arsenal team was unbelievable to watch. I'm sorry.
They were.
Yeah, they may have had.
But then so are West Ham if you give them an
You're
opportunity.
talking about an unbelievably talented Arsenal team that were a joy to watch. Who, yes, may have had a handful of games that season where it wasn't as easy.
So was Manchester United, though, Tommy.
I've got to say compare that to what we're looking at, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, but I'm not being funny. So was Manchester United back in the day, but they used to always get it done in the 90th minute.
Oh, come on, Man United.
I'll tell you an interesting question, right? If you ask Leicester fans, right, they had that season where they won about 5 or 6 games 1-0 towards the end of the season, didn't they? When they won the league.
Yeah.
There was pundits saying they can't do it because all they're doing is winning 1-0. It will catch up with them eventually. They went and won it, right? I know Leicester in the Championship. I know it's not been as good for them since they won that league, right? But I'm wondering if you ask Leicester fans, if you could repeat that season, like I presume it was kind of good to watch, but I'm not a Leicester fan. I didn't watch every game in and out. So I wouldn't know that's right. But would they want to watch that over and over again? 1-0, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0 league win, 1-0, 1-0, 1-0 league win over and over again because I know they had Kante, Vardy, all the rest of them, you know, Mahrez scoring for fun sort of thing. But with a manager like Ranieri, obviously the style of play suited them. But they were sort of counter attack as well, weren't they? They had Kante picking the ball up and putting the ball through.
They were exceptionally good.
They played on the counter. Like that was their thing. 30% possession. Hit the ball over the top to Vardy or Mahrez or whatever.
If we were playing the season like Leicester played that season, I'd be very happy. Yeah.
Well, to me, that's what we were playing about 2 or 3 seasons.
That is what we are playing.
Has gone down.
At one time, yes. Yeah, at one time, yeah.
But yeah, I'd just be interested to see how they feel about it because obviously that's their greatest achievement in the last 50 years, and you know, win the Premier League like that, and thinking would they?
And who knows? Moyes might be looking at that going, well, they did it this way. Why can't we?
He used to do that. He used to do that way. So I don't know why, but for some reason we don't play that way anymore. I don't know why we don't play that way anymore. I don't know why things have changed. When he first came along, we was like it.
Yeah. Anyway, listen, gentlemen, I'm going to leave it there. Been going for over an hour and a half. Thanks all of you for coming on, especially James, because I do like to get someone on to make me think, make me think maybe in a different way about things. So I appreciate you coming on, James, and
no worries, man.
Giving another perspective on things. Always appreciate hearing your views, bud. Always Luke as well. Appreciate it, mate. I know you jump on when you can, and you always have plenty of really good stuff to say. And Budgie, I really appreciate you too. Always love getting your opinion on things. As you're a resident old timer, who's seen a lot more West Ham than the rest of us. over the years.
Well, not so much live as many of the, but yeah, I've seen a lot from and with West Ham.
And hopefully you've a lot more to come as well, Budgie, I hope. And
well, hopefully, yeah. I mean, every day's a bonus, isn't it, buddy? You know what I mean?
Exactly. For all of us, mate. For all of us. Tomorrow's not promised to anyone.
I just want to say though, guys, don't forget Wednesday nights, myself and Kieran, we do the old school Hammers stuff. It's just, you know, talking bollocks and getting away with it, basically.
Yeah, so, make sure and tune in.
11 o'clock on a Wednesday evening.
Perfect. And James, why don't you, just for anyone who doesn't know, just give a shout out to your show? So
no worries, mate. It's anyone come and follow us on E20. They're more than welcome to. Listen, West Ham family at the minute is a bit divided, but we should all be together. It's West Ham United for a reason, because we should all be united, and let's hope we are in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. It's
well said, James. Well said, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. As always, to everyone in the live chat, all the usual heads, appreciate every last one of you. Really appreciate the support that you give to my show. And hopefully we'll see you all again next week, because I do put your opinions up on the screen and I do like to hear what you guys have to say as well. And to anyone watching the show back, thanks for taking a look. And as always, until next week, folks, come on, you Irons.
Come on, you Irons. Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Well said, Budgie. Excuse me, the stream doesn't want to end.